Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It's stormy today.
I know. I was thinking coming in. I think we've had just a very few days that the weather is really good. It's either cold or stormy or rainy. Because I remember even when we were at the other building, we'd be like, another rainy day.
Well, I just got an alert before you came, like 10 minutes before you came, that the storms were going to be coming in.
Mm-hmm. No, I had heard last night, and then possibly really a lot of wind.
And the kids are home again.
Why?
They canceled school today.
Because of the
storms coming in.
It must be pretty bad.
I don't know. It's not until after.
We're here. Well, they would have told me that. They would have told me you can work from home.
Oh yeah, that's neat. You could, I guess.
I know, but then I don't know when to cut it off at home.
See, that is the let me qualify that. This sort of leads into something that we could talk about, because you don't know when to. If you work from home, you don't know when to stop.
Mm-mm.
Now that boils down to ethics, because you are conscious in doing your job thoroughly, regardless of where you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? As opposed to those government officials who want to work from home. You see where I'm going with that? And how the president said, you got to come to work, and if you don't want to come to work,
how did you like it last night?
Oh my gosh, I stayed up for about 45 minutes of it. And, and I have to interject, I just got this happy feeling just right now. You ever get a happy feeling? Mm-hmm. I just got this happy feeling. So, yeah, that's what I thought about it.
America's back. I mean, this morning, and then people started chanting.
Yes.
Good.
And we watched it, and I was talking to one of our friends here from the Historical Society. He couldn't watch it because when he sees people who are so negative, it makes him angry. Now, I don't get angry. I just look at these people and say, what's wrong with you?
Well, I was laughing at J.D. Vance and Mike Johnson having such a good time, because you know that they were sitting there going, that's making their head explode, right? Because, it's like, because you knew it was just going to just the mere mention. But yes, so I know it made their heads explode. And plus, they were, with the guy that got taken out, which I'm glad that they did take him out.
Oh my gosh, he was so rude.
But it was over nothing, because he's not cutting Medicaid and he's not cutting Medicare.
Do they really?
He's not cutting Social Security. Social Security people, I'm telling you, 2034, they already have it on their website. It's going to be cut anyway. It's nothing that he has done.
But I was listening to the news this morning, and all the things he wants to say, why should people on Social Security pay taxes on Social Security?
As we discussed before, it's already a tax.
It is a tax. It's a tax.
They take it out of your check.
And now you're getting it back, but we want to tax you because we taxed you.
But they tax you on your refunds.
Yes.
If you get a refund, then you have to, but it's not income. It's money that I overpaid you, and you just owed me back. I just have to pay it again. They're corrupt.
There's somebody, what did he say? There's one person who's been receiving Social Security, and they're older than the United States.
Yes, they're 300 and some years old. It's like, and they were like, liar. It's like, well, if it's on the record, my thing is, I would have been laughing and said, well, as soon as we find this person, we're going to give them a commendation.
I'm sitting there going, Moses. It must have been Moses.
More than the country was, so what did they do?
Abraham's still around.
It's just crazy. But some of the things, the only thing they chanted on was Ukraine. Or the only thing that they clapped on was Ukraine.
I did see
that's
one woman stand up a couple of times in that section when they had the little boy.
Which was decent for her to do.
Yes, but she was probably one of a handful.
Yeah, they couldn't even get excited about the boy that got into West Point. I don't understand. I don't understand them. I don't understand their mind. Other than that, we can't be happy for anything. So to me, that says you're anti-American. Because there were so many things in there that were pro-American, not pro-Republican, pro-American.
Pro-nation, pro our Constitution. It is, I sit there, and then he brought up the young woman who had her whole athletic life destroyed. playing volleyball against a male who was on a girls' team because he smashed it so hard against her face. Now, he probably just spiked it, but she was right there.
Yeah, because that's what happens in
That's
volleyball.
what happens with volleyball, they spike it. And you've got a male and he spiked it. And she was there. And if they couldn't clap for her, what's wrong with, I sat there and I said to my husband, you can't tell me that those people on the Democratic side do not have granddaughters and daughters that play sports. Would they want that? You have to ask yourself.
Apparently they're okay with their kids being
maimed
or
for
in the
life?
locker rooms with boys.
For life?
I know, because she had a traumatic brain.
Yes, and if you'll notice when the woman behind her pointed her out, here she is right here, and when she was clapping, it was her left side did not work as high as the right. And that is so sad, and you're saying that, oh, the federal government doesn't have a right to do that. Well, then you might as well get rid of the amendments that we've had, Title IX, which was, forget it.
Well, and I saw that the senators, they didn't sign the bill. The senators wouldn't sign the bill.
No, they did not.
So they wouldn't sign it for boys not to be on girls' teams, correct?
They did not.
And they
did
said
not.
every senator declined. So that means Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, and we looked at
That's ours
that.
right here in Virginia.
And they do everything against us. And I mean, and it's not right. And one of my favorite moments was when Trump looked out there and he said he wanted every child in America to know you're perfect the way God made you. That just gave me chills.
It does.
It gave me chills to hear him say that, because you are perfect the way God made. And I was listening on Instagram. It was funny because it popped up and it says, maybe we need to go back and listen to Mr. Rogers. And it was one of the things Mr. Rogers was doing, and it said, if you're a boy, then you'll always be a boy. When you grow up, you'll still be a boy. And if you're a girl, when you grow up, you're still going to be a girl. And I was like, boy, that's and everybody used to love Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like, he got it back then, so why can't we?
What's wrong with the rest of...
There are two gingers, and I love how he reaffirmed that last night. And see, I know everybody has issues with the tariffs, but see, to me, the tariffs, all they're doing is they're putting us back on an even playing field, because we get taxed like crazy for all of our stuff, but then there's nothing. So now it's just going to be reciprocal. Whatever you do to us, we're going to do to you. I mean, that's fair.
Yes.
Because we have been paying the bulk of Europe and all the
NATO.
We pay the bulk of, and that's why he's saying we're not going to do this anymore. It's kind of like with me. I don't mind admitting what I did wrong, but I'm not going to take the fault for everything. And I don't mind paying my fair share, but I don't want to pay everybody else.
That's exactly it. And
that's all he's saying.
We come first.
Exactly.
We come first. The American people come first. And that's where we talk about this at home, because I cannot believe $8 million to transition mice.
Yeah, what do they need to transgender for?
We know that
they need to die.
There are enough humans that have had that you can just ask them, how are you doing? How are you doing?
And there's studies and things that we do not need to support in other countries.
They were really quite funny. That's what we were sort of laughing about.
I mean,
it was a kind of humorous, because you can't make up this stuff. You cannot make this stuff up.
And all we're saying as an American people is investigate it, and if it needs to be trashed, then trash it. If it needs to be just postponed and put on site, I was listening about a building that, people were paying rent on something or getting money for, and nobody's in it because nobody uses it. And I had to laugh at Trump when he was saying, we're paying for this, and was it sedentary? It was sedentary migrant or immigrants.
Immigrants.
And it's like, that means they're doing nothing, right? Sedentary means...
So we're paying for sedentary immigrants.
We looked at the sedentary immigrant study. And it's like, okay, I can look at you and tell you're doing nothing.
So that's somebody just sitting there and we're watching you.
And
we got our eyes on you, and we're starting to see what you're
that
doing.
was ridiculous. I mean, I'd be like, chop that one off the get-go.
It is a really common.
But yeah, I thought he did a great job last night. But I mean, he pointed out, and even when Kennedy, he was like, you should think the name Kennedy, they'd be happy. He said, but he started off and told him, he said, I know there's nothing I can do to make you happy.
That's
You're
exactly.
not going to clap, you're not going to be happy.
Here's the truth of it.
So we might as well just go forward, and, he was okay with it. But I mean, there were things that he pointed out, it was like, you people did this.
Yes.
And it's true, they voted for it, they did it. So now we're reversing it because he said we want to get back to
The Constitution, we're getting back to what's right. Common sense.
Common sense.
And he's right, because he said, it's not just common sense here, but the world, around the world, there are people thinking, that is, maybe we should have some common sense on what we do. Open your mouth and put your foot in, and they've done that for so long.
Teach people? Don't you teach your kids to
Well,
do that?
you try to.
You're supposed to use common sense sometimes, because book smarts is good, but common sense takes over to where book smarts can't teach you.
That's exactly right. And he had so many good points, and we didn't stay up for the whole thing.
Like I said, I got woke up by some clapping, and when I did, it was something, and then it made me laugh. And then I could get back to sleep because I was like, oh my gosh, their heads were spinning off their necks.
That was one of the reasons why I said, let's go get our milk and cookies while we watch this, because otherwise I'm going to be too hyped up and I won't be able to fall asleep because I'll be thinking about all this stuff. And we're just sitting there just watching these people that are not cheering for good things that have happened for our country.
Well, have you been following the Epstein files?
Oh,
because, Pam Bondi thought she had the binders and everything and thought she had what she needed, and then of course it's redacted. Blacked out.
Yeah.
I mean, totally blacked out.
Yeah,
except for a few things that everybody already
I'm wondering if it's dates and times, is that the only thing?
And then she gets, the whistleblower tells her, or this person tells her, says, no, all the files are in southern New York or whatever in this place. And so she demanded it. And so they sent, she says truckloads, but anyway, at least a truckload of documents and stuff. And now they've got the FBI. But the FBI, one of the heads of the FBI up there, he either resigned or was told to resign.
No, he did.
But on the way out and stuff, he told people to stand strong and resist and stuff.
I read that.
Like, who does that? Who
are
you protecting?
You are not a voted in representative of the people. You work for us.
I mean, and if your boss tells you to bring something, you bring it.
You bring it, yes. See, that's what they don't want to recognize. They've had too many years where they lived in their only little fiefdom and their boss.
And they can cover up everything.
And it doesn't matter well, we don't agree with our boss now, so we're not going to do it. It's like a stubborn little petulant child.
Mm-hmm. But you saw how Zelensky came around.
Yes, he did.
And yes, and I'm very thankful, and I'm very grateful, and I would really like to meet, and we want to get this, because who wants a war to go on? And even when he said, we want the war to end, they wouldn't even clap. And I'm like, so you want the war to continue? You want to keep spending money?
Who's got? I would love
That's some money laundering thing.
She took the words out of my mouth. No, that's how we think alike. Because money did not go to where it really, $350 million or billions?
Billion, I think.
Billions, $350 billion went over there. Where did it go?
Yeah.
I would like to
follow the money.
Follow the money, and it's buried. And all those people who sit there and they're not happy for the American people who are going to get a break, who are going to get some tax relief, and believe it or not, maybe stuff made in the United States again. Do you know how hard it is to find something made here?
Mm-hmm. Well, they were talking, I was listening to another podcast and stuff, and one of the things it brought out, going back to the tariffs and stuff, and Trump mentioned it last night. He said, we may hit a bumpy road for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But it's going to be okay when we come to the other side. And I thought about, your own household budget. There are times when you either have to cut back or you have to do something, and sometimes it's a little bit challenging until you get through it to the other side.
Exactly.
And, so yes, but on some of the tariff things and everything, people are projecting that, cars are going to jump up this much. Well, some of the places already have cars on their lots. They're not going to increase those cars right now. It's going to be on future things. And hopefully what's going to happen is at some point, then because your tariffs are this much and our tariffs are this much, maybe we're going to sit down at a table. And maybe we're going to say, okay, hey, for our purposes, we can't export to you because you're not going to. And plus, it's also giving people, he's giving tax breaks and incentives for people that will come and build.
Exactly because they're coming here. It's cheaper for them to build a factory here and produce their cars.
Or
anything else.
Exactly.
Now,
and then he's going to give a tax break if you buy an American-made vehicle.
And it's an incentive for these companies to invest. Now, when they invest here, that puts our people to work. And energy, drill, baby, drill, everything revolves around energy.
Everything.
I mean, when you start studying anything, even the humans,
you need energy to walk in here today.
Exactly, you need energy. So when you drill, baby, drill, and fixing that pipeline, I heard the other day, when they shut that pipeline down, it cost 59,000 jobs. When you shut that pipeline down. Put that pipeline back in.
And they're usually good paying jobs.
Yes, and think about it. It's called lag time. We are going to it's that lag time, and that's what we're going to have to get over. Because that lag time is from when these companies start up again to when they're ready to go online. So it's going to get some time for them to build. There's going to be a lag time. Okay, in 2025 on March 5th, 6th, 7th, whichever day, this company says, okay, we're going to fire up our boilers, but we've got to get everything in line before we do. We've got to get enough energy in line, cheap energy in line before we do. So it's going to take lag time.
I mean, we have to get that grace. I mean, it's like he said on some things. He's been in office 6 weeks. Some of the economic things we're feeling are still left over. Because like he said, I wasn't in office when the egg spiked. He wasn't in office when the egg spiked. But so everything takes a little bit of time. I mean, he's getting in there and he's taking care of things, but some things, as she said, take time. It's not like they just turned off like a button on the pipeline. They closed it down.
In
so
fact,
you got to get EPA, you got to get your permits, you got to get all.
They sold parts.
So, and I loved about that we're taking the Panama Canal back.
Both ends of it.
Both ends. So anyway, there were so many positive things last night.
Mineral rights
in our own country.
Finally, because I know that from Obama, and I think, they bought a lot of land. One state, they owned almost all the land because they didn't want anyone drilling or anyone mining any of that resources. And Minnesota is one that's going to benefit from this because they have a lot of minerals and rare earth elements that they're going to be able to mine and get out because we need them. How is that not a positive? Why can't you cheer that? I could cheer that, but we are singing to our choir because I see so many positive things. Rather than putting us backwards. If we kept up, we would we'd be all serfs.
It just is. It's just amazing. Amazing. And so now, like if he comes to the table with Zelensky, then we may even be getting some of their rare earth things. That it's going to at least help pay us back for all that we put in. I mean, so.
Do you here? And I forget what podcast I was looking at. If you think of it about this way, okay, he agrees to have us mine some of his rare earth elements and stuff. Don't you think that we are going to put some of our workers there mining it? So we will have a presence in Ukraine, which is a deterrent to anybody else going into that country, if you think about that. Because knowing Trump is gonna be there, he's not gonna allow our people to get hoodwinked or hurt. And think about Gaza. You jokingly, okay, you wanna go, if we put a presence there and use it and do something, build up a big amusement park. Again, there's a presence there. And that's a deterrent, just to have that presence, because you need a strong president, because he means what he says and he says what he means. There's no, that's why people don't like him, he's too frank with them. He tells them like it is. Right? Oh.
No, it's, you're exactly right. So it's going to be an interesting time still, because we're still not done with anything. I mean, we're just starting.
And Doge, Elon Musk is getting paid up. Who can afford Elon Musk? He's doing this.
And then he's stealing. What is he stealing, people? What is he stealing?
He needs to steal nothing.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
You people, I mean, the people out there, I don't care. And I know it's 65 and older. A lot of them don't like Trump. But you're stupid. Because he's really trying to find money that's been stolen from you all these other years. And I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, y'all just need to get over some things. And that's my personal opinion.
Oh, no,
because it's...
And he's not trying to destroy the Constitution.
No,
he's trying to get back to it. Back to the way things are. We should not have a heavy loaded government. It should be light, not heavy. The heavy, let the states deal with it, and even on local levels, let the guys deal with it.
But some of the things that he said, like I said, I watched JD Vance back there. JD was like cracking up. He was like, oh Lord.
I like it.
Not that he was upset. It's just the fact that, you know, it's just like, oh, this is so funny. This is so funny. It's just, you know, it's when he called her Pocahontas. He did at one point. He said, you know, I know Pocahontas ain't gonna like it. It was funny. He threw Pocahontas in and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness. It just, you know, it just gives you, nothing was insulting. It was all just truth. I mean, you don't vote for anything that's American, and then yet you stand up there and you tout all these things. But yet you were okay with hiring 87,000 IRS workers to look into our stuff. But you don't even want more people looking into
what you're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, somebody has to audit the government. I mean, who audits the government? Doge is auditing the government.
Oh, I remember the one time I saw somebody stand up in a red way over on the left side there, or his right, was when he said, we are going to strive for a balanced budget. I saw one person stand up.
They probably knocked that person down and took him out.
I said, well, I would be afraid to be on, and I said to my husband, I said, I wonder how many people on that side are too afraid to admit that he's right.
Oh yeah, they can't admit, because they have dug themselves so deeply that none of them are willing to cross the aisle at all.
Have they no ethics?
My thing is, we'll just steamroll over you.
There's no ethics, there's no righteousness. What's wrong with them?
I mean, I don't understand how you cannot be about America.
They obviously are not. And about our American children. I mean, celebrate these kids. That little boy.
Oh, he was so sweet looking at that guy. When he got that Secret Service thing, he was just so happy.
I mean, really.
And then he went down there for the guy that got the West Point. He went there and tapped him and congratulated. I mean, he was so, and then these people that have lost people because, and so I'm glad that they're considered terrorists now, these MS-13.
Well, they are. They're terrorizing. They are.
So, anyway, I had no complaints from last night, and nothing seriously alarmed me or anything, because we're 6 weeks in. I'm still watching and waiting. I mean, we're being alert, but I thought it was, I felt for the first time like, whew, okay, we got somebody that's really looking out for us.
They actually care.
Yeah, about us.
And
it's, no tax on overtime.
And tips.
And tips, I mean, that helps people.
Because it is.
You know, because that is a major thing. I mean, when you're getting $2 an hour and then you get tips, and then you gotta pay them, I mean, it helps the people that are in that kind of industry.
It does. It was kind of, it's just, I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I just, and I don't get angry with them. Maybe I feel sorry for these people because they don't know what they really
There might be a
supposed
part
to
of me
do.
that does, but last night it was more like,
What's wrong with it?
well, no, last night I was like, you know, you've been in our face so long that there was nothing that he said that to me that talk to the hand. I don't care what you
And I
say.
just, when he says woke is gone, I'm like, yes, I get it. Woke is gone. Because I have still not, I told somebody, I saw somebody in the grocery store on Monday, and we were chatting quite a time, and I said, do you know how many pronouns that we were talking about? It was over 100 different pronouns. And that was, what, about a year ago?
Well, and what about that lady that stood up because they were indoctrinating her child in school?
Oh, my
And I mean,
gosh.
that is just, it's horrible, horrible, horrible.
Teach the subject. That's what you're there for. And if you can't do that, get out of the classroom. I don't want you as a teacher. And this is from, I was a teacher, and I can't accept that. You teach the subject. Otherwise, stand back.
It's just getting exciting.
It is. It really is. And every day is something new.
It is, because there's no telling what he's up there doing today.
He had 4 years to watch what somebody's screwed up. And
he learned from the first 4 years. And you know, he knows, like, hey, no, I'm coming in, and he said, I'm just getting this stuff done. The last time he came in, he tried to work patiently, he tried to and it's like this time, I know you're not gonna like anything I do, so we're just getting it done.
And that cabinet that came in,
Oh my gosh.
gosh.
Did you see, they said one of the things that I was listening to this morning said that the protest started, that there were some people that I guess were supposed to walk the president in, refused to do it. See, I'd be like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
You don't even need to be working here.
Go home. No,
I
come
mean-
back. Leave. Don't need you. Because I just look at that, and I look at these young people in his cabinet, most of them. They're not very old. And they have high standards and education. And they're the best in their field. Their credentials are unbelievable. You know?
I just say, hang on and watch, people. Hang on and watch.
Yes.
All right,
Put
we'll
your
see you later.
seatbelts
That's
on,
right.
hook them up.
All right, see you later.